sad. Happy, sad. Happy, sad. Happy, sad. Happy. I'm sorry, but I kind of had to do that with the differences in portraits. So, it is time to finally interview all of the Coma victims. Welcome back to Trails in the Sky. Last time, I ended up reminiscing about my childhood memories of cats due to one side quest, and we put off doing what we really should be at this point. So now we'll actually get to that. 4 people in Roland collapse, so let's go ahead and find out what happened. Okay, so a lot of people have come through. That means the list of suspects. Yep, Estelle is saying exactly what I was thinking again. It's actually really weird at just how good Estelle is at doing that. It must be hard to write a character like that, but I feel like in, I'll talk more after this testimony is over because it's, pretty important that you pay attention to the dialogue here. This is probably the most important thing to ask. Okay, go on, please. I thought someone would mention that! Remember when we first heard the bell upon coming into town? It was just evening. That would line up with 5 PM. That whole theory about us already getting a warning might be coming true. No, I think that bell belongs to whoever our attacker is. So we already have a small amount of useful information. Yeah, let's just be on the lookout for anyone going around with a bell. If we hear a bell, we should probably run. So what I was saying is, the one other protagonist I think that is really, really good at basically predicting exactly what the player is thinking at any given time is Phoenix Wright from the Ace Attorney series. They're always very, very good at, particularly his inner monologues. He often says what the player is thinking. So, let's go to the Arband Bar and head upstairs this time to get our second testimony. 2 people referring to Shara by her full name. So in this case, it was Alyssa's mother. Okay, exactly the same time. Yeah, that's a fair thing to worry about, considering they're all made of wood. Okay, so Dad called you at kind of an inconvenient time, because that meant there were no witnesses to her being knocked unconscious. Just as no one directly saw Lita fall unconscious. And once again, someone carried them up to bed. Yeah, another moment where you really get to see... Like I said, this game really does a great job of illustrating that Estelle actually lived here, and she knows these people. It's really not often that you see this done so well. Well, the bell would be a pretty good start. Okay, this time it was a person, and not a sound. Well, yeah, that's kind of normal in the fog, unfortunately. Weird clothes. Well, all the enforcers so far have been wearing pretty distinctive clothing. Black dress robe. Someone did actually see a possible suspect. So we have the bell, and we have someone wearing strange black clothes. Yeah, with us on the case, we should have this solved. We've already pretty much solved 3 Ouroboros incidents after all. Luke's the closest, so let's go to him next. Luke's the one that definitely hits the hardest for me, personally. Just seeing a child be the victim of something like this. And especially given that we know Luke and Pat from all the way back at the beginning of FC. Yeah, Maggie now is really, really, really not the time. Oh, yeah, that can't have been good. I should mention, though, whoever this Ouroboros member is who's doing this, are they aware that Luke's father is in the army? Because, yeah, they may have just, by going after him... Well, let's just say going after him might not have been a great idea. She's kinda lying to herself there, as you can tell. Yeah, sadly, Pat is our only witness for this, so we actually do need to talk to him. The more you can tell us, the sooner we'll be able to find some way to wake up Luke. On top of the clock tower, that was where that mysterious person in the black clothes was seen. It all happened at the same time, though. Okay, so once again, nobody directly saw them fall asleep. Oh yeah, the guy you often see around the clock tower. So, the obligatory question. Unfortunately, this account's a little bare of details. Or is it? In this case, it seems like the location is the most important part. Because we already know that someone suspicious was at the clock tower, so this only piles on more evidence against them. I'm sure he will be, but you might have to wait a little while. We'll need to look into things a little more to figure out... You know that's actually true, sadly. But we will need to look into this a little more to find out how to wake these people up. So, there's one more stop, and that is in the lower part of town, through here, behind the Orbital shop. It's one of these houses. I keep forgetting exactly which one it is. I think it's actually this one. Yes, it is. So I didn't really talk to these two very much in FC, but they have a bit of a subplot where they're a young couple, but the father of one of them, who's the guy who's collapsed here, didn't approve of the match, but eventually he came around. So exactly the same as the other cases. Right now, it is. So, one last interrogation is a bit of a hard word, but questioning, I suppose. Okay, later than everyone else. That's important to take note of. Okay. So he did speak before it happened. So, we all know what she's going to ask here. But that's usually what you ask people in a case like this. No, not really. Aha! 2 people heard the bell sound. That means it probably wasn't a coincidence. That means, though, there must have been at least 2 bell rings, because the first one occurred around 5, the second at 5:30. And so, that's everyone investigated. You might want to save here, though, because a couple of bonus BP questions are coming up when we head back to the guild to report our findings. And so here, this one's basically process of elimination. Time and happened is not true because one of them happened at 5:30 and the others all happened at 5. Only 2 of them heard a bell, but none of them directly saw the people collapsing. There were witnesses to events before and after the collapses, but nobody saw anyone actually collapse. True, it would be easier for someone to sneak up on people with this fog. Olivier, don't ruin it like that, you'll freak out Estelle. Well, instead you freaked out Tita. Good job. That's exactly what I was thinking. Again, Estelle's great at that. We only have one witness to that person in black, except the one testimony that didn't directly mention anything suspicious might actually be the most important of all. So, Luke collapsed is the correct answer here. The clock tower is important. This means that this mysterious black-robed individual was right at the scene of one of the crimes. Yeah, again, this chapter just has this unsettling vibe to it, because we've had an enforcer going around here and putting people to sleep, one by one, and nobody's even really realized. The stakes are definitely higher in a lot of these chapters compared to FC, but you wouldn't really care as much about Roland if you didn't get to know the town and its people back then. This is part of why you do really need to play FC to get the full experience, and why I feel really, really bad that I, at one point, actually recommended that people skip FC. I don't know why I did that, and I'm completely sorry that I did. I mean, we already found a lost cat. turns out, two of our party members are going to step up here and basically be gentlemen about this and let Estelle have some rest. Yeah, you have had a lot of people close to you affected by this. And this right here is why I chose the party that I did for visiting Estelle's house the first time. Because Chloe and Tita are going to get to visit anyway. So this way, everyone gets to visit but Agate, I guess. As it turns out, though, they actually want her to stay out of this too. But yeah, as Zin's pointing out, it's actually more about the fact that Shera has been required for this whole chapter. She's pretty tied to the events of this, so she must be feeling the emotional strain of this too. It's just one night. We can afford to not be workaholics for one night. And so, reluctantly, Shera agrees to rest with us. Yes, make sure you equip sleep protection, because you're gonna need it! I was just wondering, like, if those accessories actually prevent you from, like, really falling asleep, or if it's just unnaturally induced sleep that it protects you from. Personally, I feel like, it's the unnaturally induced sleep, also. Olivier, who said anything about you coming to Estelle's house? They did say Chloe and Tita and Shera. There was no mention of you. You know, the fact that you're directly pointing it out makes it even more suspicious. And so Karma strikes Olivier immediately. He said leave patrolling to us guys, that includes you. And dragged away again. Even when Mueller isn't around, Olivier still has problems with men wielding giant swords, and that sounds bad, but he would probably deliberately interpret it that way. Anyway! That is very, very true. Why? Why? So, I forget if this is entirely, like, right or not, but I think if you brought Tita and Chloe to Estelle's house earlier, that line is a bit different. Like, I think she acknowledges they already know where it is. Also, yeah, heart explosion now. Also, even more heart explosions approaching. obviously extremely tired here. I don't know why, but I've always liked that detail that Estelle tucks her in there. Yeah, with someone on the loose, we can't take any chances. Looks like Chloe's sleeping in Joshua's room. Does she know about that? Or, yeah. Oh, she does know, and of course she'd completely freaked out. Also, of course, this room is much neater than Estelle's. And she's still conflicted about, the friends she's made at school versus her obligations to the country. And yeah, another tucking in. So that's a good moment that I'm pretty sure is optional. Yeah, that was all the way back at the start of Estelle's first journey. It must be hard coming back like this without Joshua. Hopefully the next time we come back here, we can bring him. More readings, I guess. Was it just me, or did Estelle's sprite just vanish for a second? You know, the only reason you're here is to rest. Why aren't you resting? Okay, let's see if I can persona my way through this. Reversed Emperor. Okay then. Emperor usually represents masculine, authority, that kind of thing. Reverse often represents things like submission to corrupt authority, or the inability to stand up to authority, or the misuse of power. And, yeah, those things too. Oh boy, Estelle, you have never played a Persona game. The tarot meanings could be different in this universe, by the way. I'm just going by the ones that I remember off the top of my head. Yeah, even more, kind of weird statements about Shara. Yeah, right now, Estelle's not really sure if Joshua is friend or foe. You know, that is true. So, finally trusting someone else with this. Finally, Estelle being worried makes sense. We're not really sure at this point. We do know he's trying to take down the society, but how did the Capua bandits play into that? Joshua is trying as hard as he can not to go back to his old life as an assassin. You know, that makes perfect sense. I mean, again, he's supposed to be a master assassin. Why did that happen? Then again, Dorothy is... It's very hard to avoid the gaze of Dorothy's camera, as Estelle's saying right now. Yeah, I wonder about Dorothy sometimes. Even though the creator seems to have shot it down, as I've said before, I still kinda like the Dorothy is the Grandmaster theory. That's why she's so conflicted, because if she does hand it over, then... I mean, Joshua's with criminals right now, and he is going against the law. But, you know, she's got a point here. If Joshua's not a danger to civilians, then yeah, exactly what she's saying. Loopholes, as usual. That's kind of exactly how he felt the night he left. There's no pressure to come up with everything now. It's true, I mean, her main problems are things that aren't really related to what's going on right now. If people around you are in danger, that has to take priority. Yeah, Estelle's definitely more about actions than about thinking things through, and, definitely not so much on the academics front. But different people have different strengths, and some people are definitely more better at the practice than the theory. Oh no, I know exactly where you're going with this. Well, I mean, she was from a former noble family. Well, I mean, that's kind of like a combination of Estelle and Chloe, actually. Estelle, Shera's always been perverted. Why haven't you realized that? She's not even listening and she's still going. And so, well, yeah, she's just gonna use this to motivate Estelle even more. just more lines like that that just make me just really wish I could hear Stephanie Sheh's take on Estelle in terms of full voice lines. Yeah, Joshua's got quite the harem already building. It's kind of a thing, like, people like to say that Rin and Lloyd have harems. They're characters from later in the series, but, well, Joshua did it first. Yeah, so we probably shouldn't waste time staying up talking. But this is true. You've been off ever since you heard that bell. But she is going to once again Tales of Symphonia us about it. You know, I think Tales of Races probably says the word protect more than Symphonia says it's nothing. I'd say Shera's life is plenty crazy without Estelle around, especially when Olivier's involved. So, that was a nice nighttime chat. Is Estelle gonna just disappear when she's... Yeah, she's just gonna stand there because this game was not designed for full screen. Uncertainty regarding your enemies, huh?